ZEPBOUND plateau, critical muscle mass loss and how it relates to your ZEPBOUND journey. Hi, beautiful friends. I'm Elizabeth, Countess of Shopping. I've lost over 110 pounds the last 2.5 years of being on ZEPBOUND, Mounjaro, and Tirzepatide compound. And the combination of those is because of the different shortages. And on today's episode, I had gotten a ton of questions in my free encouragement group, which is on countessofshopping.com/group, my free resource for you for encouragement, up-to-date news information, workout information, food information for GLP-1s. It's not just ZEPBOUND folks in there. And it's totally free. I will link that in the description link below. We were talking quite a bit in the group about ZEPBOUND plateaus or weight plateaus in general. You can share this with your WEGOVY besties too. I'm lumping them in this article that the Count found, and I will cite my source down below about muscle loss from GLP-1 like ZEPBOUND, Ozempic, WEGOVY are actually not as high as we thought. But how this is going to correlate to a weight plateau and why this information for me is particularly fascinating. And I know for you, if you have been stalled out, my fellow turtles and I unite, we will eventually win. It may just take a little bit longer, but how to push back some of these plateaus with some of this new data information, it's fascinating. Let's dive in. So there's this Medical News Today article that the Count found and put it in our group resource that I wanted to share. Is past studies show adults taking GLP-1 medication can lose between 5 to 15% of their starting body weight. And other research reports that a good portion of weight loss comes from muscle. The new study says it's via a mouse model that the muscle loss from GLP-1 medications like Ozempic actually may not be as high as we had recently thought. But researchers also found that the decrease in the lean muscle mass was not all from skeletal muscles, but from other body tissues like the liver. Now, stay till the end. I'm going to talk about that liver component and why that's also fascinating. We're going to deep dive into that too, because there's some new science behind that of why you want to know that for your health and in particular for a ZEPBOUND plateau. So from this information, we know from our bows to our toes, I've been talking about this now for the last 2.5 years, GLP-1s, but specifically the weight training component. I did not start weight training until well after my first year of being on GLP-1 medication, but really it was in like the 2-year mark of where I've gotten serious about weight training. And I've been using something recently called Muscle Wiki that's been very helpful for creating workout plans. I've talked about it in a previous video that was released on Friday, so you can go back. You can go back down in the playlist and see that. And with that, it got me from working with my ZEPBOUND dietitian. She very much has had me leaning into weight training and how important that is for the muscle mass loss part, and that I have been redefining my body in terms of muscle, it's recomposition. That's me literally dancing from weight training, like getting my weight training in, and how important this is for us, particularly if you're on a weight plateau, to start getting into weight training. I very much have leaned into this because, and I've started learning more about some of the nutritional components of it, is I was struggling with ZEPBOUND fatigue and being too tired to lift. And with that, I started to look up EAAs, they're essential amino acids, and started to learn some more information on that science behind that and how that can be very beneficial for myself on a GLP-1 diet and a GLP-1 journey, that it's helping with, they help with protein. And so with that, I started researching and I found that it supports muscles, the essential amino acids, help support muscles and metabolism as we age. And it's 6 times more effective at building muscles, these EAAs, these essential amino acids. And we know, and I've shared this stat before, but it's a really, really important piece of information too, of how muscle, if you're at a weight plateau, you can only walk but so much, right? Like I'm just going to use cardio for an example. If you're walking around, which I love, that's how I started. And if you're at the beginning of your journey, this information is helpful and it may take you a little bit longer to get there. That's what my story was. But some of you are at this point and you're like, I am so stuck. And I want to encourage you that muscle burns more calories than fat. And the ratio is cited between 3 to 1. A pound of muscle burns approximately 6 calories per day at rest. A pound of fat burns 2 calories per day at rest. If you are not doing that cardio every single day, you're not going to be having the same benefits. But if you have weight training and you're not, say, weight training every single day or whatever, you're still getting those benefits from it, which is why I've been very much talking so much about the weight training aspect. I don't feel like it's talked about enough in the GLP-1 community. We lose substantial amount of weight. And yes, the articles are saying we're not losing as much muscle mass, which I'm going to re-loop back to. But we do have flabby dabby skin and we do have, like if you sneeze, you're going to break a hip, right? We need to protect our muscles, which protect our bones. And as a result of this, I started looking more into what essential amino acids were in corresponding to weight training. Everyone talks about like creatine and things like that. And I'm like, no, the essential amino acids, that's the choo-choo train that I've been going down because it has in there, it works faster, it absorbs easier, it absorbs into your body within minutes, these essential amino acids, no cooking, no digestion delay, no bloating. It's literally in real life. And so I started looking up a company, it's called KION. Someone had recommended it to me and I was like, oh, okay, I'll try. You know, guys know I like to try stuff. And I wanted to just try it while with lifting. And so I take 7 of these 30 minutes before exercise. And with them, it has, this is what they look like. They have, by the way, powder formats that you can mix within drinks. Personally, I'd rather take a pill. And so I started off like taking 4 of them. The dose is 7, but I take like 4. And then I have built up. And then I take these 30 minutes, it's within exercise, sometimes before, sometimes after. It has been so helpful. It has been so helpful on my quest with my muscle mass journey of where I'm building muscle because of the essential amino acids in there. It's also sugar-free, third-party tested, non-GMOs, and vegan. And one of the things that I liked about it is it's helping me with that consistency too. It's helping me consistently with my workouts as well. And also because it mixes, literally, you can mix it with a powder format, or I just take with the pills. It makes it very, very simple to have with my workouts on there. It has helped me stay consistent, keep my strength, feel great in my body. And it's also trying to lose fat without losing muscle. I really do feel stronger with it. So KION has been very gracious to the Countess of Shopping community, and you can use my link in the description to save 20%. I'll link that down in the description for you, but an extra 20% off of KION. And I highly recommend because of the essential amino acids in there with the weight training component. Now, many of you guys are going to ask, because we have delayed gastric emptying with GLP-1 medications, just being mindful of how my body feels, right? Which is why I started with the less of amount and kind of like stair-step my way up with it. It has been really, really helpful with it because of the lifestyle changes that I'm making. And that's one of the ZEPBOUND plateau areas that I want you to really talk to your healthcare provider. Obviously, don't take any supplements without talking to your healthcare provider. None of this is medical advice, simply my own experience, strength, and hope. Always talk with your own healthcare provider. But having this breakdown in terms of working out, one of the things that is included in here too, by the way, the essential amino acids, is leucine. And leucine in there is awesome. These different amino acids that they have included in there, that's where I'm like, I'm so pumped about this. As I continue to learn more, you guys, I'm a very beginner. I have been weight training now for the last, I don't know, 6+ months, more than that, 8 months. It's been a while, but I'm still learning about this. And the leucine on there, it is a key trigger for a pathway to signal for muscle growth. So it's helping with muscle growth. And again, going back to the component of helping to build this muscle, particularly on a weight plateau. If you're on a weight plateau, I really want to encourage you to get a weight training program. Muscle Wiki is what my ZEPBOUND dietitian had recommended. I've talked about it in other videos. It literally gives you a lifting plan. If you have dumbbells at home, bands at home, if you don't have any of that, just your body weight, you can coordinate these different workouts for yourself. Go to workout generator when you go to it, and then click on female or male or whatever you are. And it has upper body workouts, lower body workouts, or you can do your full body workout. It has been awesome. Awesome for me to do this weight training component, because this is the hinge pin with a lot of people on plateaus. Excuse me, people don't talk about this as much, and it makes me mental. I'm like, you don't need to do more cardio. And here's the thing. Let me use my I statements. Let me take that back. I see, and within myself, I was doing a lot of cardio focus, but not weight training 3 times a week, 3 to 4 training times a week. My dietitian said I needed to start at least with 2 and then build up to 3 and then to 4. And then so it's every other day basically for the 4 times a week. So that would rotate my days. If that is too much, then just doing the consistent 3 days a week. Leading into whatever, there's a wide hoop for obesity and there's a wide way to do this. And so many people who don't do weight training, but my encouragement, the research, the data, I am leaning so hardcore into this. And because it has, and my dietitian talked about muscle protein synthesis. And so the EAAs, the essential amino acid benefits, are rooted in direct role of muscle protein synthesis. And so it helps with the building blocks for muscle and then also faster absorption and muscle recovery with it too. So lifting with this. It has been very interesting. We hear so much people talking about creatine and things like that. And this to me is like even bigger, better, faster, stronger in terms of that muscle building, which I'm pumped about because of the essential amino acids. Now, when we go through with weight training, I think one, it's figuring out what works best for your schedule, what works best for you. Do you want to go to the gym? Then great. The Muscle Wiki has on there where you can do machines if you're at the gym. I don't have access to that because of my son. We are very blessed and fortunate to have a gym at our home. And so being able to work out from my home with my own equipment is really, really easy. But if you have none of that, if you literally live in a 1-bedroom place, you can just use your body weight from Muscle Wiki to come up with these weight training routines. And it has videos as to how to do them, which is one of the cool parts about them too. Now, bigger picture, I want to go back over to this Medical News Today article because I think this is really important. One, it's the media talking about, if you guys remember, you can go back. I reported on this when the media was like tooting their horns. You're going to lose so much muscle mass loss. And I said, it's the henny penny. Oh, the sky is falling of that. Of the media loves to make GLP-1s seem like they're the bad news bears and that there's something wrong with them. And there's not. In fact, the studies are now showing that because 1 in 8 people have been on GLP-1 medications, that it's not decreasing the as much lean muscle mass as we thought, the 5 to 15%. Research reports that 25 to 39% of weight loss is from muscle loss. But if you think about it, one of our beautiful viewers had said this to me, and I thought it was such a great thing. Of course, if I'm weighing over 300 pounds, of course I have more muscle with that because I'm carrying around more weight with it. And as I drop the weight on it, as I'm carrying that around, like that to me just makes logical sense. And I'm like, that's an excellent way to phrase it. That's not necessarily a bad thing, right? That's not where it's a bad, where it becomes a bad thing of where it can affect our bones and getting a DEXA scan to check in on your muscle mass as well. Or you can have even some of the other scales I recommended. I'll link those down in the description link below of how important it is. But now a new study published in the Journal of Cell Metabolism says via a mouse model that muscle loss from GLP-1 medication, they're not as high. And in fact, it's coming from body tissue like the liver. And where this gets interesting is the fatty liver syndrome. Hello, I know many of you have had this. You have it or friends and family have had it. Its researchers found that some mice experience a decrease in strength in skeletal muscles that stayed the same. Additionally, researchers found that a good portion of decrease to lean muscle mass did not come from skeletal muscle, but other tissues in the body, such as the liver, which they reported reduced size to almost half, right? This is not uncommon for the liver to decrease in size during weight loss, which can help reduce the risk for fatty liver disease. Right? Like that is a hinge pin right there. This is huge news. If we really want to help, Dr. Funier, an associate professor of nutrition at the University of Utah, says, if we really want to help individuals who may be losing muscle mass, we need to know if they're actually losing the muscle mass. And so with that, working with a dietitian is important. To help with if you're coming for obesity management or if you have type 2 diabetic or if you're both. And so with this, obesity is a unique disease and it requires specialists to manage. In addition, the bariatric surgeon has talked about treating patients with GLP-1 medication, that the data in this study cannot be extrapolated directly to humans. It does shed some light on potentially important psychological effects of the medication. It's extremely important to note the continued study of potential side effects, including the loss of lean muscle mass and associated with GLP-1 medications. Furthermore, we need to continue our broadening understanding of the psychological effects of these. It's important to evaluate effects on muscle strengths as with function, as well as function, and determine whether certain areas of the body are more susceptible to muscle loss, as well as identifying preventable strengths to combat muscle loss. Y'all, this is huge. Like, this is huge news. Just knowing the fatty liver component of it, of where it's not coming from your skeletal component, that it's coming potentially from these other places. Did they say organs specifically? No, body tissue, coming from other body tissue, including the liver. That's kind of an important thing for us to know. So this is where I go back to certain things I can change, things I can't, and the wisdom to know the difference. I immediately bounce into me for the serenity prayer of like discerning what's mine, what's not mine, what can I work on, and what I have no power control over to work on. At the end of the day, I only have control power over myself. My decisions, my movements, that is within my control. Particularly with this GLP-1 medication. I used to feel like I didn't have control and power with my food and workouts and things like that. And partially that was true. Literally, it's because I had a hormone deficiency. And as we learn more about these hormone receptors, how GLP-1 and GIP matter to our hormone receptors. And as we come out with our third hormone receptor, which is going to be CagriSema GLP-1 medication, how important this is. So important. But things I can control is I can weight train 3 days a week. And my dietitian has said if it comes between walking and weight training, she wants me to weight train. And I am so pumped. Watch me the next 3 months. I've talked with my dietitian. I have the plan as to how to do this with Join Fridays, through who my dietitian is through, and the recomposition of my body. I'm not looking at the weight loss component. It's recomposition of my body with muscle. Because I'll tell you what, where's one of my pictures? Nope, that's not it. I got a flapjack booty. It is a pancake on a stick, honey. I used to have a big booty. I don't know. It's like a straight slope on the back. You know why? That is muscle mass loss. Back there, my caboose is not a caboose anymore. Look at this picture. Like, there's some junk in that trunk back there. And I don't have it now. And that is because of muscle mass loss. With this body recomposition, honey, she's going to get a little junk in the trunk back. I'm pumped. I am so pumped about that. I'm so pumped about that. And so learning about these different pieces and pockets, this is a huge component. People are not talking. We talk so much about the food component, of course, with GLP-1 medication. But when the time is right, and for me, it took me time to master as someone who was morbidly obese, weighing over 300 pounds. Okay, there was a lot of baggage, and it wasn't just baggage, it was suitcases full that came with me when I first started this medication that had to be healed, reframed, and learn new permanent lifestyle tools. Because my shtick and my thing is permanent lifestyle changes. Eli Lilly tells us in our literature we need to change 2 things about ourselves. 1 is our physical activity, and 2 is our eating. Bottom line, point blank, period. So what are you doing today to change those things? If it's as simple of, I don't know how to lift, and that was my thing of, I know how to lift because I used to lift. I just didn't know in which order to do it, how to do it, what dumbbells I needed to do it. And the cool thing about Muscle Wiki is that you can figure out what makes the best sense for you. But then it's doing it. And now I feel like I am paying so much for this medication. Over the last 2.5 years, out of pocket, I have paid over $16,000 in medication, which is insane, but also not insane because I would be paying that. I'm an economist daughter, the cost-benefit analysis of me being morbidly obese and how much that would ultimately cost, including my life, of being morbidly obese. To me, well worth that price point. Well worth that price point of revamping our budget to be able to continue to take this medication. And so I want to encourage you, how can you work on this? If it's first just focusing on the food component like I did, great. You know you better than anybody else. Keep this in your hip pocket, save this video and be like, okay, I'm going to check in with myself in 3 months. Am I ready now to weight train? Because for me, when I first started, I couldn't weight train. It was all that I could do to learn how to put my fork down, learn to know when I felt like in my brain I was full, and in my body I was full, and in my brain when I was hungry, and in my body I was hungry, because they got to get synced up. with old past behavior issues of where I was eating copious amounts of thousands of calories late at night, to then not doing that. And then what do I do to replace that? And what do I do when I feel really, really full? And what do I do when I feel really, really hungry? Simply learning those coping skills took me at least a year. And still at times I'm still like learning. And I feel like such a turtle, but fellow turtles unite. If you feel a little bit stunted in that area, we all have our gifts and our strengths. And for me, I realize I have other assets and strengths in other areas. And this is just something I'm slower at. And that's okay, because I'm learning and I'm trying and I'm doing the very best I can with that. And to the point of where then I could start incorporating weight training with this, which now I'm like, bring it on. What's that movie where they're like fighting? Like, bring it on. I'm ready to deep dive into this, to weight train, and to really, really start building that muscle. So this arm muscle, I can look back and be like, it's not jiggling as much down here. It's like muscle. I know that's going to happen for me over the next 3 months. My dietitian told me 3 months. Body recomposition, it's going to change a lot for me over the next 3 months by simply making these incremental changes. And I am so grateful for KION to be able to take this because of the EAAs, the essential amino acids. Use the discount link down. You don't even need a code down in the description link below. Highly, highly, highly recommend. Highly recommend that you figure out a plan, whatever that plan is for you. If it's with a personal trainer, if it's with paying for an app, if it's for the free service Muscle Wiki I had recommended, if it's for videos on Beachbody, if it's for training here on YouTube that are totally free, whatever makes the best sense for you is what I want to do, right? Because again, it is a wide hoop to jump through. All roads lead to Rome as long as you're figuring out which road is best for you. Because we're different, everything's not going to be the same. And if somebody tells you it's all going to be the same, run, Forrest, run, because it's not. There's many, 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 many different ways to do this. And my job on my daily show is to help encourage you and show several different pathways to get there, right? And that's exciting. That motivates me. I love that we're all not the same, because we can learn that way by being diverse. We can learn more from each other with that too. I love in my group that there's some people who are in my free encouragement group at countessofshopping.com/group who are doing microdosing. And that's not a fake fugazi, like it's legitimately now being backed by science of how important and helpful that can be for some people. That it's not just for obesity management, that we have sleep apnea coming in and heart disease coming into the chat and all these other studies that we're testing on with cancers and things like that. Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, dementia. Like there's a lot of other challenges coming into the chat that people are looking for solutions for that GLP-1s are helping with. And we're just at the beginning, not the beginning, because GLP-1s have been around since 2005. So they've been around for a while. How I didn't know about them, even though I've asked my doctor over and over during the last 20 plus years previous, is beyond me. But the fact that we're here now in like the 2.0 and soon to be in the 3.0, when Cagri-Sema come out, orforglipron, I want to make sure I'm pronouncing that properly, Cagri-Sema, retatrutide, like all of these upcoming ones that are in the pipeline, woo, doggies. It's an exciting time to be alive, and I'm pumped for you. I want to know in the comments, your question of the day is, what are you doing today to move you closer to your goals? If you're just focusing in on cardio, I want to challenge you. What are you doing then to move into a weight training zone? You've nailed this cardio thing. That's awesome. But how is your weight training going? Knowing that we have scientific data that's rooted in how helpful this is for us, particularly people who have lost copious amounts of weight. It matters, it matters, it matters, it matters, it matters. For me, I want to get old and I want to be able to go on an airplane and lift my suitcase up over my head. I want to be able to lift my grandchildren, and doing these weight training movements, how much that's going to help with those functions. You can change your life, my friends, over the next 3 months, 6 months, year by focusing on weight training. We don't talk about this enough in the GLP-1 community, and it's stunting us in our growth and in our health. By not having this conversation of how much muscle it matters for us, and how they're testing also in terms of like what the scientists are testing is helping with other drugs. There's a new one in the pipeline that's in clinical trials about how it doesn't reduce muscle mass loss. We'll talk about that in another video. It's fascinating. It's an exciting time to be alive, and I'm so grateful for you. Down below will be all of our free resources. Our emoji of the day is going to be a fish. Just keep swimming, just keep swimming. I do emojis of the day to get to know you better because I care, and it's an easy way for us to like me to see your name and that pattern recognition over and over and over. If you've made it this far in the video, I really do, like, you're one of my besties. So fish is our emoji of the day. And I do emojis of the day also to, it's like our bat signal. I will pray over you. If you don't believe in prayer, uplift you in positive thought. My beautiful friends, be kind to yourself, be kind to others. I'm Countess of Shopping. Count my blessings because life is delicious. Share this video with your bestie. Click that like and subscribe button. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Bye, sweet friends.